everybody. Please join me to vote.
To be a voter, and it's so important to have your voice heard, you do need to be 18 years of age and a United States citizen. First step is you fill out a voter registration card. And on this voter registration card, you're going to be asked to provide your address, your name, your address where you live, a mailing address if you get your mail somewhere else, and then we do ask for your date of birth, where you were born. If you have a driver's license or state ID, we require that, or the last 4 digits of your social security number. And then you can select a political party affiliation or have no party affiliation. And then you check the boxes that yes, you're a US citizen and yes, you're 18 years of age. And then you sign the box attesting to all the facts that are on the form. And then this is a self-mailer that you can just fold and mail in, or you can drop it off at any of the city clerk's offices or the county elections department as well. These cards will also be available at social service agencies and DMV, so if you do go there, these cards are available for you to register. You need to re-register whenever you change your name, you move, or you want to change your political party affiliation. So once you're on the voter rolls, the next step is prior to the election, about a month before the election, you're going to get 2 different voter guides in the mail. This one is the one the county sends out, and it is called your sample ballot booklet. So it will actually contain a copy of what your ballot's going to look like on election day. So it gives you all the contests that you're eligible to vote on. It also includes important information about voting. If you want to vote early, we provide this information in English and Spanish as well. And it also includes on the back side where you will go vote. And if that says you're a permanent vote by mail voter, that means that we're automatically going to mail you a ballot 29 days before the election. Or if it does give you a polling site and you want to vote by mail, there's an application for you to fill out and send in. The other guide you'll be getting is a state voter guide. And the state voter guide contains all the information about the state propositions that will be on the ballot, as well as important voting information as well. And this is in the newsprint, so this one will be from the state, and the one that's usually on white paper is from the county Office of Elections here. The state pamphlet is also available in Spanish, so if people need information in Spanish, that is available, and all you need to do is call our office and we'll make sure that you'll get this in the mail as well. So then you either choose to go vote at the polling site or vote by mail, or if you're a permanent vote by mail voter, you wait for that ballot to come to you about a month before the election and vote it and turn it in. If you go to the polling site, they're going to ask you to recite your name and address. So you tell them your name and address. They'll check to make sure you're on the list. They'll ask you to sign a roster. They're going to give you a choice of either voting on paper or voting on the touchscreen, and off you go to vote. If you ever need assistance, give us a call or ask one of our poll workers. Your polling site will be printed on the back cover. It says right here, your polling place for this election is, and it will be printed there. You can also go online to votescount.com and look up where you go vote, and it even gives you a map and directions on how to walk there or take public transit or drive. Or you just call us 454-2060 and we'll look it up and tell you where you go vote.
The last day to register to be able to vote in the November 2012 election is October 22nd. Get registered.
Hi, I'm Brianne. Please join me in being active in the political process. It is really important that our voices are heard. The most important thing to do is to register to vote and vote on election day. There are other ways to be involved too, such as talking with your local legislators. Voting is not a test. It is a right and a responsibility as a citizen of our state and our country. Visiting your representatives. In order for your representatives to represent you, they need to hear from you. There are many ways you can be heard. You can write them letters, call their office on their phone, send emails, or even contact them on Facebook. One very effective way is to schedule a face-to-face visit with a representative. Here is how Toby visited with one of his representatives, Assemblymember Bill Monning.
First, I look up Assemblymember Monning website on Google. It was easy to find his office phone number. I used my cell phone to call. The Assembly member staff Adam answered the phone. We scheduled an appointment for me to meet with Assembly member Monty to share my ideas. I put the appointment into my calendar. I arrived at the office early to make sure I could find my way. I brought a paper with me that I made on a computer to help share my ideas. My friend Sarah came to talk to the Assembly member too. I met Adam at the office. He was very nice.
Glad to hear it. Come on in. So thanks for coming in to meet with Assemblymember Belani. We are here 5 days a week. Staff are in the office on the 3rd floor of the county building at 701 Ocean Street. And our phone number is 425-1503. So you can always come to the office to speak with us or make a call. Normally I would help you, but today the Assembly member is here and he's really excited to be able to speak with you both today.
Alright.
Are you excited too?
Yes, I am.
Okay, excellent.
When the Assembly member was free to meet with me, Adam showed me into his office. We shook hands and gave the Assembly member a copy of the paper made. He offered me a seat and talked together about my ideas. I feel good about meeting with Assembly member Monty because now I know he is able to represent me.
Hello, Assemblymember Monty. I'm Sarah Bush.
Hi, Sarah. Good to see you.
Good to see you again, too.
Thank you for being here today.
Can you tell me about your job?
Yes, well, I'm a member of the California State Assembly, and I represent the 27th Assembly District, which includes parts of Santa Cruz, Monterey, and Santa Clara counties. I represent about 500,000 residents of this region, and my work is both working in the district, meeting with people and learning of concerns, and talking about my work in Sacramento, where I'm one of 80 members of the California State Assembly, and we have to approve a budget each year for the state, and I currently serve as the chair of the Health Committee, so I'm working on a lot of health-related bills.
How did you become an Assembly member?
Well, to have the honor of working in the State Assembly, I had to be elected, and I was first elected in 2008, November of 2008, and the terms in the State Assembly are 2-year terms. So I was in the Assembly 2009 and 10, and I stood for re-election in November of 2010, and I was re-elected into my current term, which goes through this year through 2012. And in the Assembly, one can serve up to 3 terms or 6 years. I'm in my 4th year, and I am currently running for the State Senate, which is a larger district, and that election will be in November of 2012. It includes this same area that I currently represent in all of San Luis Obispo County. But the voters decide who represents them, and that's why I encourage people to register to vote and to be sure to vote this November, November 6th, for everything from the presidential election to state assembly and Senate elections. There'll be a number of ballot measures as well that are going to be very important for the future of California.
How can I get involved in the political process?
Well, it's a great question, and I think I particularly like that question when it's from younger Californians, because I think a lot of young people sometimes look at the political process and they see the conflict and they don't feel like maybe things are being done the way they'd like to see them being done. But the best way to make a difference is to become active. And the first level of involvement in our electoral political system would be for people who are 18 years old or who will be 18 years old by November of 2012 to get to register to vote so that they can participate by voting. Then other levels of involvement would be to consider working in a political campaign of a candidate or on a ballot measure. Some people, particularly interested in schools, might want to work on a ballot measure that would generate more funding for our schools. So there's a whole range of ways to become involved. To me, the most important thing is to want to become involved and to get more information. People could contact my assembly office to ask for contacts with organizations, or outside of the state office would be making direct contact with a political campaign. And it's important for viewers to know we do not do campaign activities from state offices, because the offices are supported by tax money and to support all constituents, not Democrats or Republicans or one particular candidate. So in the election season, to become involved, it would be important to go to the Democratic Party headquarters, the Republican Party headquarters, or a particular candidate's campaign office, as opposed to the elected representative's office.
What would you say is the most important thing for a person to do to have an impact in their community?
Well, that's another excellent question, and I think it's not so much important as to what a young person gets involved with as that they want to get involved. It could be with a nonprofit organization, it could be with a group that's helping to feed people, Meals on Wheels, or a group that's helping with healthcare, or a group that's helping with the environment, cleaning the beaches, trying to keep plastic bags out of our bay that hurt marine mammals. So there's no limitation of ways to get involved. And I would just encourage young people to pick something that they really care about, whether it's environmental or political or education, something, the arts, something that you're really interested in. I know working with members of Hope Services and the disabilities community, there's a tremendous number of opportunities for people to be active in supporting both public education, how budget decisions affect people living with disabilities, the importance of fighting for sufficient budget allocations to support programs that I've supported in our community that are critical to our community. Hope Services, the regional centers, etc. They do such tremendous work and support so many families, yet other families maybe aren't aware of that work. So involving in nonprofit organizations, doing community education, this is a public service that you're doing right now by bringing information from this office to viewers and constituents, people that I represent. It's a way to maybe encourage people to take that step to become involved. Also becoming involved, it may be around an issue like the environment, like disability services, but by becoming involved, there are other benefits. You're not just helping with that issue. You meet people, you make new friends, you get exposed to a broader social network. And so even if it's around a campaign or an election, after that campaign, you still preserve those friendships and grow as a person by being involved.
Well, thank you for the interview, Assemblymember Monty.
Sarah, thank you so much, and thank you to you and your colleagues for taking the time to meet with me and showing that you care and for being involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Toby Ames. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Gail Pellerin.
It's nice to meet you, Gail.
Nice to meet you too, Toby.
Can you tell me about your job as the Santa Cruz County Clerk?
Sure. As county clerk, I also serve as registrar of voters, but my other job is I'm commissioner of civil marriages. So it's a fun job dealing with politics and love coming in the office and getting married and getting licenses. We also do passports here, and we do fictitious business names and notary bonds, so we're a full service office.
Why is voting important?
Well, I think it's important for everybody to have their say. I think it's really sad when we see statistics from other countries where such a high percentage of those people who are eligible are voting. And here in the United States, where they don't have to go to war over the right to vote, it's a duty, it's a privilege that's been given to them at birth. And once they turn 18, they can register and vote. And so many people don't take advantage of that and making sure that their voice is heard. So I think every election's important. It's not just the big ones like the presidential election, but also the things on the ballot that are coming up here in November are local school boards and water boards and park and recreation boards and fire boards and local measures deciding laws on how your taxes and your dollars are going to be spent. I think those issues, those backyard issues, are as important as electing our next president.
Okay. How do I vote?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. So the first step is to register. And to register to vote, you either need to fill out an application, or if you do go to DMV or a social service agency, they will ask you if you want to register to vote as well. But every time you move, change your name, or want to change political parties, you must re-register to vote. Now we have some exciting news coming up that we're looking at doing online voter registration. It's probably going to be launched after Labor Day in September, where voters will no longer have that piece of paper but can actually go to their computers and register to vote online. So we're real excited about that, and we're working toward having a smooth launch of that program.
What if I have a hard time reading some of the questions? Can someone help me when I vote?
Absolutely. And the next step after you register to vote is you'll get voter information materials mailed to your home, and that's a sample ballot and voter information pamphlet that the county sends, and the state sends you what's called the state voter guide, which includes all the information on the state propositions. And you could either sign up to be a permanent vote-by-mail voter, or you can go to your polling site where you're assigned to go and vote there. But regardless of where you are and where you want to vote, you can always get assistance. You could either bring your own person in to assist you, or you can ask one of the poll workers to assist you. And in our county, we actually have ballot delivery and assistance in people's homes. And we also visit the residential care facilities and make sure people are registered by the deadline. They get a ballot in the mail if they want one in the mail, and we help them vote as well if they need assistance. So there's always help along the way. And at the polling sites and here in our office and in Watsonville, where we also have voting, we have what's called the touchscreen voting unit. And that allows any voter, regardless of a disability, to vote independently and privately, because it has an audio ballot as well as a large font ballot. And I know the older I get, the harder it is for me to read some of these ballots. So having that larger font that I could blow up is really helpful.
Okay. What are some important things to know about voting?
Well, I think the most important thing is that voting's not a test. People do not have to, sometimes folks get overwhelmed with the length of the ballot and the choices on the ballot. You don't have to vote on every single issue. You can leave things blank, and there's no dishonor in leaving something blank if you don't know about the contest, you don't know about the measure. But there's also a lot of resources to help us make those decisions, both in your voter information guide the state sends, the county guide that we send that includes candidate statements of qualifications if they've chosen to submit one, and all the information about measures as far as the measure question, the text, arguments in favor, arguments against. And there's so many resources now online for people to utilize to help them in making a decision. But in the end, you know, feel free to leave things blank and take your time. It's always good to get your sample ballot pre-marked at home, so when you go to the polls, you know what you're doing, and it goes fast and easy.
Thank you for the interviewing.
Thank you for coming in.
Hi, my name is Brianne Holman from Hope TV, interviewing Greg Caput, Supervisor from the 4th District in Santa Cruz County. Hello, Mr. Caput. It's an honor to have this opportunity to speak with you. So can you tell me about your job as a county supervisor?
Sure. It deals with after you're elected and sworn in and become a member of the Board of Supervisors, we deal with issues that cover the entire county, and some that are specific to, like, the 4th District, which is from the Watsonville area down to Aromas. That's the area I represent. That could be something like county roads, making sure that they get repaired. It has a lot to do with public safety, Sheriff's Department. We overlook the budgeting and the Sheriff's Department and how they handle certain issues in the county. Also the county fire districts, and also the big project we have going on right now is the Pajaro River, which runs through actually 4 counties, but the main part of it is in the Watsonville area, where the flooding is most the potential of flooding is most high in that area, and right now we're doing what's called a bench excavation to reduce the potential of flooding when there's a big storm in the winter. And the river on the other side, of course, is in the jurisdiction of Monterey County. So we deal with the state highways that run through the county also, and we deal with all kinds of issues. We're always dealing with the school district and talking with them, and we're talking with city council and cities that are in the county, and water would be a big issue. I go to a lot of meetings dealing with water and the water problems in the Pajaro Valley. So it covers everything. It's very different and very interesting, because we are constantly dealing on issues that some of them are in the past that we are trying to fix, and then there's some that just come up as we go along. So that's basically what it is. We cover the other big part would be, of course, how are we spending taxpayers' money, and that's a big one. That's our big budget, with the salaries of all employees in the county, and also on projects and what money is going to go where, how much is going to go where, and where it would be spent. So we're talking about a $400 million general fund type of budget that we have to overlook, and we're responsible for making sure that we're solvent at the end, that the budget does actually balance. We can't spend money we don't have, so we have to always decide what should go where.
So can you tell me, how did you get into or onto the Board of Supervisors?
Well, it goes back to an election, of course. I was on the Watsonville City Council. I was there for 4 years, and the supervisor's race opened up for Santa Cruz County District 4, which is the area I represent now, and I decided to run for it and put my name in there, and there were 3 people running at the time, and that was in a June primary. You have to get a majority in order to be elected outright. Only the top 2, if there's no majority, go on to a November election, and that's what happened. I came in second in the voting in the June primary, and then it was, instead of 3 candidates, it was myself and the front runner. And I happened to win by 63 votes out of 10,000 votes cast in the November election. So it was very close, and it was very rewarding, and I knocked on a lot of doors, went out there to talk to a lot of people. 7,500 homes I actually knocked at their door. About half of them, at least 3,500 to 3,700, answered the door, and I was able to talk to them. And I think that that's basically the process of getting elected and telling people what your ideas are and what you want to stand for. And mine was for smart growth in the area. There were big issues concerning is the city and Watsonville going to expand and go out into the county and become a larger sprawl city than it is right now. And my argument was that they should do more infill rather than more housing development on the outskirts of the city. Also, making sure that the plans for a school were put in, because when you add population and people move in, you have to have services for them. And it seemed like I was saying that they had a plan, but they didn't have a focus on what it takes in order to implement a plan. They were going to build housing, but they didn't have police officers and firefighters that were going to be added to the forces, because when you have a larger population, more homes, you have you need more people, more personnel in order to handle things. Also, water issues came up there, and also the agriculture land. Some of it is agriculture land, and I'm for protecting that. That's the greatest source of revenue, actually, for the Pajaro Valley. And we have some of the best soil in the United States right there in the Pajaro Valley. So I didn't want to see good farmland being paved over. So that was just one issue out of many. Also, I was saying that we do have to cut or hold back on the salaries of the top echelon workers in order to save jobs, save that money, and keep people that are working and getting paid less, and so that they didn't have to get laid off with the economic crisis that we were facing. So those were a couple issues that really hit home with a lot of people. And I did make a promise, too, that I would get the work done on the Pajaro River, and it's starting right now. So I've been in office about a year and 3 quarters, and they're right now improving the capacity of the river as we're speaking right now. That work will continue until October. That's phase 1, and next year they'll be working on the river in phase 2, and it'll be completed in October of next year. It comes down to the people, the voters, when they go to the polls. They are at the top of the chain of command. If they don't feel you're doing a good job, they vote you out of office. If they feel that you can and you have the potential to do something and improve their lives, they're going to vote for you. So every 4 years on the Board of Supervisors, they decide whether or not they want to rehire you or if they want to get somebody new. And that's basically it. So we always have to be mindful. The voters do decide who's on the Board of Supervisors and how we do all of this.
All right, thank you. And what things can I do to be active in the political process?
I think information, knowing local issues. There's a saying, all politics is local. And that includes everything. People, they look at their lives and whether or not government is going to somehow be able to help them and make their lives better. I did notice when I heard loud and clear that when you knock at somebody's door, there was a common thread throughout every door you knocked at. They basically, the majority, the great majority, is concerned about public safety. Is it a safe area to live in? Is it getting worse? Is it going to get better? What do you want to do to make it better? The other would be a job. Are they going to be able to get a job? in the area. They don't want to have to commute and become just a bedroom community where they live in Watsonville or the South County and they have to travel maybe an hour or 2 hours to find a job outside the area. And also everybody's concerned about their children, whether or not there's going to be good schools in the area and whether or not there's good programs that are offered to the youth of our community. We have a very young population in South County, by far the youngest average age in the entire county, and almost all of the growth for most of the county came out of the Watsonville area, and that our schools are full. And so any plan in the future has to involve all of that: public safety, jobs for somebody to be able to afford to live there and pay for their home so they don't lose their home, and also whether or not there's a good school for their children to go to, and also are there programs in the area that are being offered. So being aware of all that is what would be really important, that you know what's happening in your community and you know what people are looking for, and maybe you have a special issue that's big for you, and that's how you end up getting involved in the political process, because you find out maybe something isn't going the way you want it to, and who do you talk to? Well, you're going to talk to an elected official. And when you go there and talk to them, are they listening to you, or are they not? Are they ignoring you? Are things getting better in your community? Are they getting worse? So that draws you into the political process. And the minimum that somebody can do is vote. The other things they can do is talk to their friends, neighbors, families about who they think how government should go. That's a starting place, and then you end up getting involved maybe with a project in your community. Something, it could be helping out with the neighborhood watch program or whatever, how things are going in your neighborhood, and then it grows from there.
What would you say to the people that are afraid to vote and don't think that their voice will be heard?
Well, when you have 10,000 people vote out of 17,000 registered voters, they voted in the election where I won. I only won by 63 votes. That margin is less than it's about 1/10%. They had to do a recount to make sure. When I ran for city council, I won by 6 votes. Out of, in the district I was running for city council. So I know how important each vote is. And it can be, like I said, you talk to your family and you talk to your friends, and if you convince them or they convince you to vote a certain way, that's a voting block. One of the big issues in Watsonville that I found out that really probably is worth 63 votes in the county election was putting in a stop sign in a neighborhood that had speeding traffic going through their neighborhood. They got together, they said, we want a stop sign. They didn't have one for the entire length of the, when the community was first built in the 1950s, and they'd been asking for years for a stop sign. So I had neighborhood meetings with them. I talked to them, I met with them, and we pushed through in getting a stop sign there near a school with a crosswalk. And that was community involvement in the political process. They wanted something, they went to their elected officials, they asked me what I would do, and basically we looked at everything and we voted to give them a stop sign. So it can be a small issue like that, but very important if you live on that street and you have children that play in your front yard.
All right, so how can I get more involved in my community, and what can you tell others who are afraid to get involved in their community?
Well, if you're interested in something, the best thing you can do, there are a lot of organizations and groups out there, from the Lions Club to the Rotary to the Kiwanis Club to Seroptimus Club. There are many clubs out there that are always helping the community, and I'm a member of a number of them, the Lions Club and the Knights of Columbus. And one way I'm involved with the community there is, and Hope Services, is that the Knights of Columbus, we have always raised money for Hope Services. Before it was called the Skill Center, and then years ago it changed and it came under the umbrella of Hope Services. And every year we have a drive where we raise about $7,000 for Hope Services. We give half of that money that we raise to your organization, and we give the other half to the Special Olympics. And it's all volunteer work. That's what I love to do. When I'm not doing my work with the Board of Supervisors, I am working with different groups like the Lions Club or the Knights of Columbus to raise money for poor people in the neighborhood or in the area, helping out the churches, helping out people with it. We raised a lot of money over the years, $200,000 for cancer survivors, people that have had cancer. Some of them have died, but we did help them out, and others are still doing fine. We have a 5-year-old boy that we helped him that had brain cancer, and he's now 18 years old, going to Cabrillo College. He gets a checkup once a year to make sure that the cancer is in remission. But those are causes, and those are ways you get involved in your community. And it could be something that touches your neighborhood. Do you want a park in your neighborhood? If there's a vacant lot there, and maybe they're thinking of building another apartment complex there, but you're thinking, well, we want a neighborhood park. We don't have one. And you might get together with your neighbors and say, look, this is what we'd like to see. And you'll find out that your involvement with the community gives you a louder voice, and you become more in tune to what's going on and what people really want and really need in their community.
Would you say that volunteering is important?
I'd say it's one of the most important things you can do. If I wasn't doing this, let's put it this way: when I retire, I want to do volunteer work. I want to go out there. I want to be involved, and I want to do things to help the community. So, yes, it's very important, and it's very important also to have a job so you can pay for your house and everything like that. But once and there's always spare time. How much time do we spend watching television? I can take some of that TV time and I can go down to help with a fundraiser for cancer victims, or I can help with a fundraiser for Hope Services. We get all that money from the local churches in Watsonville. We stand outside the door, they let us announce that we're having a drive, and we tell them what the money's for, and when people come out of church, they put money in the cans, and we count the money up and write the checks to, like I said, Hope Service and the Special Olympics in the local area. So yes, it's important. If you took all that away, we wouldn't be able to recognize our neighborhoods and our cities. Volunteer work it comes from the heart. And it's people that are really motivated to help out, and they're not concerned about how much they get paid. So yes, it's very important.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Caput, for this wonderful opportunity, and thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome.